Good morning, gamers! This is Overgrown. Michael, if you want to open with a little bit of story exposition.
Yeah, of course. So we took part in SCAD-Savannah's Global Game Jam, or that location of Global Game Jam. And with the Roots theme, we created this character that you see on the screen, Bud. And so he's this rosebud with a cassette tape on his head. And the root that you see coming out of him connects the checkpoints together and is your connective medium that is with limitation that you work around, but also something that helps you solve puzzles. And so Overgrown takes place, our intention was to have it take place like on another planet where plants are grown in laboratories, and apocalyptic events have happened and plants are now able to be free and grow all over the planet. And so most of what you see here mesh-wise was created in the initial 40 hours for the game jam, but we've been working on this here and there over the past month with refinements in level layout, in our shader, and in other functionality just to explore more and spruce up what we already had.
Yeah, and in terms of game mechanics here, obviously going ahead with the root theme, we have this big root that comes out of you that sometimes it's a bad thing because you're stuck to it, you're tethered to it, it's what connects you to the vital plant life that you need, and can get in your way, you can bump into it, but these don't have to be downsides. You can harness these powers for good, and you can actually walk on top of your root to make you a bridge to take you places no one else would be able to get to. So your objective throughout the levels is to interact with your checkpoint, see the level at hand, and then try to take it on your own in bite-sized chunks. You also have a little bit of a gauge of how much root you're allowed to spend in the bottom left, and if you feel you've made a mistake in your puzzle, you're able to reset back to your checkpoint. And these controls are explained in our handy little menu here. You also have a seed that you start with, which if you're currently holding the seed, it's shown in that icon to the bottom right. And the seed is a nice little thing you can set down on things that need things. What a word. But so right now I'm charging this magnet, which has released the box of screws under it. But the problem is that when I step off of the plate, the door shuts again, and I'm going to need that to be open for me. So we're going to come over here, I'm going to drop down, save myself a little arc for later, and set down my seed, and it grows a little root out of it, and it holds the pressure plate for me. So now I'm able to walk under the space I've given myself, come on over here, loop around, and walk on top of my bridge again. And now I can pass through the door freely. And we like having these little vista points that after each level you can see kind of the route that you've painted throughout the level. In terms of game design and level design, taken a lot of inspirations from Portal. Alright. That's a little bit of a problem we're encountering right now, where it sets me at the wrong checkpoint, so I'm going to have to restart this here.
It'll just be 1 second. In the meantime, the root that you saw growing behind the player character, one of our intentions is to not clear that root every checkpoint, but rather have it maintained throughout the whole level. So once you finish and you've kind of ascended this abandoned laboratory that we have set up here, you can look back and see exactly where you've been and how you solved every puzzle. And so some of our intentions longer form for the following month is we would like to set up a skybox with some volumetric lighting coming through cracks in the walls. We'll pull a lot of influence from raw concrete and architecture of Eastern Europe, and we're trying to really portray this as a non-Earth place, but pulling the elements that we'd like to pull. And so we're going to have a more defined beginning and end, beginning having a tutorial and menu and UI pop-ups explaining how to do things with the player. We're exploring new mechanics with a punch that can knock over rubble and debris to break open fit objects and walls to give you new passageways. And then we have a secret ending that we have planned, which will be, I think, a very, very unexpected, but very on theme.
Alright, back in this level. Of course, we always have some things to iron out. I'm our blueprinter. It's been a process with the getting the tether and the checkpoints, but a lot of big work in Unreal Engine. But here we have our level that we're kind of considering to be more of a boss encounter. This really puts to the test all the mechanics that you've been having time to grow along with in the game. So we have myself using that as a bridge to walk on top of. We hold this door, and another really positive benefit that you've seen me do with the tether is that if it gets in the way of the door closing, it won't be able to close fully. Though even if I do take the seed back up off the pressure plate, that door is still open for me. So now we go over my double bridge here. A lot of root everywhere. And here we go. This is the little bush that if I have my seed in my trusty pouch here, it gets consumed and takes down the bush for me. And I'm able to progress.
All right. Anything else you want to show us?
That's everything that's in right now. We have big plans moving forward.
All right. Go ahead and pull up the game and let's talk about your plans.
Yep, of course.
Sure. So aside from some of those mechanics where we talked about how the route would be solidified and followed from each point, we're like redoing a lot of the levels to follow a more realistic floor plan and sense of scale to really push that feeling that Bud, our main character, that's his name, is really quite small and navigating things that he's not quite meant to be able to navigate. And so on top of that, we have the new mechanics that we're thinking about with like the punch and whatnot, as well as we want to explore verticality and traversal, not just onto objects themselves, but actually using the route and walking on the route between different heights is something that we're trying to push a lot further, as well as connecting both of the levels together and just having one big level. And so we'd also like to, we're doing a full remesh on the player character with new animations for this month, and we are going to have much more set dressing and populating of the environment to really sell the aesthetic and the scenario that we're trying to push. We want to embrace more like scientific kind of lab equipment items, but also some more abstract horror type elements as a way to explore the world that we have set up here.
Yeah, and we also just we have some good ideas for just putting out more levels and more content and just the directions that we want to take that. I've been really inspired by puzzle games like Portal more directly, and also kind of indirectly The Witness as a puzzle game. I really like how the way we have things set up right now is the puzzles can kind of be taken in their own chunks, and even if you don't know the whole solution straight out the gate, it's not really too much of a binary process like where you either know the solution or you don't. There's little points of progression you can make in puzzles where something clicks, and there's even something to be said for just trying to progress within the puzzles and like going on almost a scouting mission just to see what problems you need to be thinking ahead for, and as well as your root gauge kind of giving you a bit of a hint of how much you're expected to spend for this level, and also limiting you, making sure you're choosing your moves wisely.
Yeah, problem solving and how you learn and adapt to new puzzles looks different for everybody. So this is one of the collision issues that is brand new to us, actually.
I know. Yeah. We're in the middle of reworking the checkpoint logic to make it this streamlined process where they're always able to connect to each other.
Yeah, one of the things that you do in a jam is you solve things, but you don't always solve them the right way. So it's definitely that process of like going and reworking and solving things to streamline the development going forward.
Yeah.
And so we plan on publishing for free on itch at the end of the month, and then depending on how that goes, we will see how feasible it is to continue work on Overgrown and continue Bud's story.
All right, yeah, this is great. A lot of good comments. Pop McPop says, I like the scary grass guy. Nightmare Warden says, neat concept. Ron Jones, the artist, says, really cool concept. I'm already hooked on the story. Jeff Jacobson says, gorgeous look. Looks like much fun to play. Sean Shepard says, nice puzzle, good mechanics. Could use some sound love to immerse players into the vibe that you want them to feel. Any thoughts on audio?
Sure, yeah. So we have this initial collection of audio that is suiting all of our actions, but for the following month, I think that it would be best if we design as much of the audio as possible ourselves. And so I've been in charge of audio implementation on the project, as well as some miscellaneous work during the jam. And up till now, I did most of the character modeling and the rigging, and I set up our current shader, the current iteration that we have, as well as a lot of the level blocking and set dressing for level 2, this one that you see here. And so I think that in a month's time, our audio is going to be a core part of the experience, where you kind of read tone and emotion out of how Bud interacts with objects versus how you yourself as a human would interact with objects. I think that is something that games help us explore really well, is taking us out of our human-centric perception and worldview and enjoying things in new ways and seeing how different things can mean new things to people.
Okay, everybody listening, I hope you tweeted that out. Go back and watch the VOD later and steal that quote for yourself. Let's see. Rib Rob on Twitch says this looks rad. Now, Jakeson has another question. Is there any resource constraint? Like, can the route infinitely long, or does it have a limit? What are the downsides to a crazy long route?
Sure.
Yeah, so we have this bar in the bottom left. Would love to show it off, but I'm stuck on this checkpoint. This level was implemented today, but we have this bar in the bottom left, drawn by one of our UI artists, that shows how much of your tether you've spent, which is calculated based on distance. So once you run out, you'll be locked in place. And we have some ideas for puzzles where that actually might become an intentional mechanic, where, say, if you run out in midair, you could dangle from your tether. But yeah, we really like the idea of flipping negative mechanics on their head and having them help you out in a positive way.
John Shepard says progression idea is nice. Nightmare Warden says unlockables could let a player change the speed to a bonsai, bamboo, Venus flytrap, etc. I like the idea of a Venus flytrap power-up. Frank Thorson says that would really look interesting. Nightmare Warden brings a question. So we're all looking, is that a tape recorder or DAT tape? What's the head of the plan? Nightmare Warden asks, I wonder if magnets are bad for the tape and the tape recorder.
So that's something that we have a little bit worked into our internal lore document that we're going to try to pull off of a lot more in terms of reference and whatnot. You'll see some schematics throughout the level that we've made during the duration of Game Jam, but something that we really want to push is that the only sentient life on this planet was experimenting with plants and pushing their capabilities. And so some of those things are like plants being able to interface with electricity, magnetic fields, and technology. And we kind of want to represent that in our objects, our props, as well as in our documents that you'll see scattered around the world. We have a made-up language that you'll see written on the wall and some documents as well. We wanted to keep the connotation and people's kind of connection to objects and to numbers and to results as kind of obfuscated and unclear as possible, so people can kind of take and layer their own interpretation onto those things.
So you've talked about Portal a bit, and I think you're aware Portal started as a student project. A bunch of students first launched it as a Flash game. That's in fact what got them hired in fact.
Yes, Narbacular Drop. Narbacular Drop. I know it very well.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, in that, like you're trying to do on Itch, you're going to have this one vertical slice of the game, the one really fun level. That's kind of what they initially did with their Flash game. But they managed to get it into a lot of folks' hands and really spread around. Do you have a publicity plan already in place?
That's something we're looking into, and that's a lot of the help that we've been receiving from our mentor. We're going to be able to show this to a lot of really cool sources, and we're just interested in showing this concept off as much as we can, as we're doing right now. So for what we're presenting right now, this is kind of just a holistic view of what it is, and hopefully you're able to see some of the connections and be able to like connect the dots on what the potential is behind here. And then over the next month and beyond is content creation and new ideas and pushing our own rules even further than they can go.
Excellent, excellent. And I'll with Nightmare Warden, the last question. Do you have any concept art for the plant guy?
Yeah, we do. If you want, I could go ahead and screen share some, or I could post some and you can put that on the stream. What works best for you?
Quick, you can share, that'd be great.
Okay, here, just a moment.
I feel like I should be doing the audio. D, 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 D. No, wait, we should have some fun music. Someone on the YouTube chat, give us some fun audio quickly. Oh, wait, you can't hear that. All right, everyone in YouTube chat, start singing.
I have about five seconds here, and then I'll have some stuff open.
I was just going to see if anyone in YouTube chat would start actually trying to sing. All right, Twitch, I think you're winning the sing-along. Come on, YouTube versus Twitch. Which chat can sing
I'm doing
better?
some screen share right now. Cool, you should be able to see my browser.
Yeah.
So this is one of our storyboards that we have open, showing Bud and him releasing this seed to kind of germinate throughout this planet. This is not a ending that we are going to go through, where the tone has shifted drastically for the better, I think. But I think that you're still going to have similar feelings that are kind of evoked from this itself, as well as I also should have some concept art for our checkpoint, if that helps illustrate that a little bit better, and his Bud's scale relationship and connection to the checkpoint as well. Can you see that here?
Yep, we can see Bud in his bottle.
Great. So that is from one of our talented freshmen, Alexis, and she did a bit of modeling as well as a lot of concept exploration for our project. But yeah, so in Overgrown, we have a like pretty diverse set of people on the team. We're 12 people, and so we have a couple freshmen and a couple sophomores, juniors, and seniors as well. And so it's been really enjoyable working together and finding out what each of us can do, but also what each of us is like passionate about, and being able to kind of spread opportunities to one another. That's something that you can't really do as easily when you're working on things by yourself, but as a team, I think we're all really glad to have like met each other and worked on the gym together, and hoping we can continue to work together and Overgrown.
Perfect. And that's actually the best thing about the jam. We love the games we make, but it's the teams that come out of that and the people you want to keep working with that matter the most. So, congratulations to Overgrown, to Slugfest, to Sprout, to Root Bear, to Fruit 66. Great stuff. And thank you, Overgrown, for being willing to be the last team to present.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, everybody. Join us again in April and see how well all these games have improved. And with that, we'll go ahead and say good night. Take care, everybody.